back to the second weekend of our Metta Meditation in Daily Life course. My name is Hui, and I'll be your MC for today. As a quick gentle reminder, please ensure that your audio is muted at all times, and also do turn on your videos so that Bhante can interact with us. Now let us put our palms together to welcome Bhante. Good morning, Bhante. Now let us all pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang Pujemi. Dhammang Pujemi. Sanghang Pujemi. Now let us ask for the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts together. Ahang Bhante Samsara Patadukato Mochanataya Tiseranena Saha Panchasilang Dhammang Yajami Anugahang Katwa Silang Deta Me Bhante. Tutiyampi ahang bhante samsara vatadukato mochanataya tisaranena saha panchasilang dhammanyachami anugaham katva silang deta me bhante. Tatiyampi ahang bhante samsara vatadukato mochanataya tisaranena saha panchasilang dhammanyachami anugaham katva silang deta me bhante.
Ma Sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang.
Please continue.
Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sarana gamanam paripurnam.
Amma bante.
Panatipata veramani.
Panatipata veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu michachara veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Sura meraya majapama tatana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikapadani samadhiyami.
Idame silam.
Idang me silang.
Maga pala yanasa.
Maga pala nyanasa.
Pacayo.
Pacayo.
Hotu.
Hotu.
Apamadena sampadeta.
Amma bante. Sadhu. 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 Good morning, Bante. Now let us all invite Bante to deliver the Dhamma talk. Bante, please.
So, a very good morning to all pious yogis. I hope you have a good practice of the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha all the time. This morning, we shall continue to experience the practical aspects of loving kindness meditation. In the previous talk, I did quote two stanzas from the Karaniya Metta Sutta, the discourse on loving kindness. Good. Just as a mother would protect her only child with her love. Even so, let one cultivate a boundless loving kindness towards all beings. Let him radiate boundless loving kindness towards the entire world, above, below, and across, unhindered, without anger, and without hostility. So loving kindness meditators are supposed to practice boundless loving kindness towards all beings, to the entire world. So in accordance with the teachings, if loving kindness meditators wish to cultivate a boundless loving kindness towards all beings, loving kindness meditators have to break down the barriers. So, what is these barriers? So, barriers means there's a feeling of between loving kindness meditators and other individuals. So, in other words, loving kindness meditators respects certain individuals. So showing feeling of dislike towards certain individuals, they do not show their feelings of indifference to the happiness and sufferings of other individuals. So when there's such thoughts of discriminations, I respect these individuals, I disrespect those individuals, I love so-and-so very much, I hate so-and-so very much, and so on. Then meditators will create a barrier. So in this way, meditators may not able to direct the thoughts of loving kindness, or the equal feeling of loving kindness, or thought equally strong feeling of loving kindness towards every individual. So meditators have to break down the barriers. In other words, they have to remove the boundaries. So aparimana, parimana means with a limit, with the boundaries. Aparimana means without a limit, without boundaries. So meditators, we should remove these boundaries. They have to practice loving kindness meditation in a systematic way. As I have explained in the previous talk, meditators begins with the first group of individuals, the respected individuals. When they can practice loving kindness well, with deep concentration towards a few respected individuals, then they shall move on to a second group, the dearly loved one. When they're able to practice loving kindness well, and with deep concentration towards a few individuals in these groups, and there's no difference of the feeling of loving kindness between the second group and the first groups. Then they move on to the third group, the indifferent ones, or neither love nor hate. They need to choose a few of them. Then when they can practice loving kindness well to the third groups, the feeling of loving kindness is equally strong. In the word equally strong, as if these individuals in the third groups, like those in the first and second groups. In other words, meditators also regards individuals in the third groups as a lovable person. Then they move on to the fourth groups. So the fourth group consists of two different individuals. The first is an antipathetic person, where meditators hate such person. There's a feeling of dislike with such individuals as long as meditators see these individuals or hearing the voice of the individuals. And the other individuals is known as a hostile person. Those individuals who are very unfriendly, in other words, treating the loving kindness meditators like an enemy. So these two kinds of individuals are grouped in the fourth group. So usually we call this group as the group of enemies. So when meditators are able to practice loving kindness well to the individuals in the four groups, then the feeling of aversion or hatred towards these individuals will change. For example, when there's a sign of progress, meditators will regard the individuals in the four groups like the third groups or individuals in third groups. If meditators keep on practicing, then these individuals in the four groups, you also become a lovable person to the meditators. In other words, loving kindness meditators will not regard them as their enemies, but will regard them as a lovable person, like individuals in the second group as well as the first group. So the commentaries explains with a simile. We meditate to explain the simile about the removal of these boundaries. So the word sampada means with boundaries, or in the words narrow. Or when meditators practice loving kindness, if they can only practice loving kindness to certain individuals, then the thoughts of loving kindness is narrow, or in the sense that they could not direct the thoughts of loving kindness to other individuals whom they dislike and so on. So the words Sima Sambada, or Sima means a boundary, a limit. Sambeda means narrow. So we have to remove these boundaries. When meditators could remove the boundaries during the practice, at that time meditators also attain deep concentration. Meditators should at least attain excess concentration or neighborhood concentration. The concentration just before the first stage of absorption concentration. So what is a sign of the removal of the boundaries? In accordance with the commentaries, assuming that you as a loving kindness meditators is staying at the place together with the dear one, a person whom you love dearly. The other person is the enemy, and the third person is someone whom you neither love nor hate. There's a feeling of indifference towards his welfare and suffering. So four of you are together. Then there's a group of bandits or robbers came. So the leader of the robbers asks you to surrender one of them. So in the ancient time, the bandits want to take the birds or humans to make a sacrifice, for example, to certain god, so that they'll be successful in their robberies. So if you, as a loving kindness meditators, you have the thoughts, let them take my enemy, or the one whom I do not concern about his welfare or suffering, then the boundary is not removed, because you do not think of the welfare happiness of the enemy or the indifferent one. But if you think that the robbers should take me, the boundaries is also not removed, because you never think about your own welfare and happiness. So only when you, as a loving kindness meditators, wish that none should be taken by the robbers, then you are considered to be successful at the practice, because you have this feeling of loving kindness towards the other three, as well as yourself, equally. So when we take loving kindness as an object of concentration and wish to be successful in the practice, then meditators have to remove the boundaries with deep concentration, at least assess concentration. So when one is able to remove the boundaries, then one shall be able to practice loving kindness, or what we call boundless loving kindness to all beings in the world, across, above, below, and so on. So ideally, loving kindness meditators should remove the boundaries. Then they can develop the thoughts of loving kindness towards all beings. But in the practice, sometimes there's no hard and fast rule. Most of the time, when meditators practice loving kindness, we try to follow the way taught in the scriptures and the commentaries in order to remove the boundaries, then only begins to practice loving kindness towards all beings. But sometimes some loving kindness meditators feel that they could practice loving kindness quite well with all beings as the object of loving kindness. Then they may begin with all beings as the object of loving kindness. But if they are able to practice loving kindness well during meditation, and after the meditation, when they meet with any individuals or any group of peoples, they must be able to show their loving kindness to those individuals, especially those individuals whom they dislike or hate. Sometimes some loving kindness meditators could attain very good concentrations with the objects, with all beings as an object of loving kindness. They feel a lot of joy. Because when we say all beings means all beings in the world, or all beings in the 31 planes of existence. So it seems that there's no contact with any individuals. There's no mental context because you do not visualize or think of a particular beings. Beings in the world are innumerable. Is beyond our imaginations. If meditators taking all beings as the object of loving kindness, but during the practice, the mind thinks of a certain group of beings or group of people, then there's no longer a practice of general loving kindness. So meditators think of a group of friends, at the same time make a mental wish, may all beings be well, happy, peaceful. This is not a practice of general general loving kindness, but it's a practice of specific loving kindness. So when meditators practice loving kindness towards all beings, there's only merely this concept of all beings. So there's no mental contact or thinking of any individuals or any groups of beings, any group of people. So some meditators feel very good when they practice loving kindness towards all beings. But in the reality of life, we all have to meet with various individuals. We meet various groups of peoples in our professions or at other times, other places. So if one who takes all beings as an object of loving kindness, then one should be able to show their feelings of loving kindness towards different individuals whom they meet. If they still have the feeling of hatred, dislike towards certain individuals, then their practice is not successful. So if meditators like to take all beings as an object of loving kindness, so when they live in their daily life, when they come into contact with various individuals or groups in their daily life, they must be able to experience that there's no thoughts of hatred or dislike. So that's why if meditators want to know that they have been successful in the practice loving kindness, they must be able to regard all kinds of individuals, those individuals whom they respect or love dearly, those they have the feeling of indifference or their enemies, they should be able to regard them as a lovable person. There's no feeling of anger, hatred, even though they intentionally think of the enemies, for example, an antipathetic person, a person whom they hate or dislike. So when loving kindness meditators have removed the boundaries, then they shall proceed to practice all beings towards all directions. So at that time, they can truly practice boundless loving kindness towards the 10 directions, beings in the 10 directions. So this practice of loving kindness, boundless loving kindness, is known as 520 ways of loving kindness, or 528 ways of loving kindness. When loving kindness meditators have attained deep concentration, at least access concentration, then they shall be able to practice 528 ways of loving kindness. So most loving kindness meditators are familiar with this metta chanting. where they chant Avero Homi and so on. Then you come to 12 categories of beings, Sabbe Satta, all beings, Sabbe Pana, all breathing beings, Sabbe Buddha, all creatures, Sabbe Pugala, all Pugala, or all person, Sabbe Attabhava Pariyapana, all those who have a personality. So these 5 groups, in fact, specific object, unspecific object. These 5 groups are unspecific object. In brief, they are just merely beings, but they are given a different names. Sabbe Satta, Sabbe Pana, Sabbe Buddha, Sabbe Pugala, Sabbe Attabhava Pariyapana. They are all general objects or unspecific object in kindness. But they are merely refer to all beings. It's because at the beginning of practice, the thoughts of loving kindness is not yet developed, and concentration is not deep. So it's difficult to stay with one object all the time. So that's why meditators have to change the objects. So the first 5 objects are general objects. Then meditators proceed to 7 specific objects on Sabba Itiyo, male, females, Sabbe Purisa, all males, Sabbe Arya, all noble ones, Sabbe Anariya, those who not yet become a noble ones, or in those worldlings, Sabbe Deva, all Deva, Sabbe Manusa, all humans, Sabbe Vinipatika, so all beings who are born in the state of loss. So these 7 objects are specific objects. So when meditators practicing, those meditators who want to practice 5 to 8 ways of loving kindness, so they must be familiar with these 12 categories of objects, and they develop 4 thoughts of loving kindness. In other words, they have these 4 mental wishes, Avera Hontu, be free from enmity, Abhyapaja Hontu, be free from mental suffering, Aniga Hontu, be free from physical suffering, Sukhiyatanan Pariharantu, take care of themselves happily. So meditators have to practice loving kindness towards each object with 4 mental wishes. May all beings be free from enmity. May all beings be free from mental suffering. May all beings be free from physical suffering. May all beings take good care of themselves happily. In that way, meditators will develop 48 ways of loving kindness, 12 categories of object, multiplied by 4 mental wishes. So there's a total of 48 wishes or 48 ways of loving kindness. Then they shall need direct the thoughts of loving kindness to each directions. For example, to the eastern directions, may all beings in the eastern directions be free from MET. May all beings in the eastern directions be free from mental suffering. May all beings in the eastern direction be free from physical suffering. May all beings in the eastern directions take care of themselves happily. Then may all beings in the western direction and so on. So meditators shall practice 48 ways of loving kindness for each directions. So they are all together 10 directions. So in that way, meditators, you practice 480 ways of loving kindness towards all the 12 categories of objects in all these 10 directions. And in the first round of the practice, there's without directions. In that way, there's a total of 528 ways. First round, 48 ways of loving kindness without directions, and followed by 10 directions. There's a total of 480 ways of loving kindness. So there's a total of 528 ways of loving kindness. So in order to practice 528 ways of loving kindness, meditators, first of all, have to remove the boundaries. In that way, meditators shall be successful in the practice, and they will gain the benefits of practicing loving kindness. So when we practice loving kindness meditation, we can practice in all the 4 postures. We do not practice loving kindness in walking, sitting. So in the next stanzas, the sutta say that Titang charang nisinowa sayano yawatasa vitamido etam satin aditheya brahma metam vihara midamahu. Standing, walking, sitting, or reclining. As long as one is without drowsiness, let one develop this mindfulness of loving kindness. Thus they say, this is a sublime living here. So meditators should practice loving kindness in all the 4 postures. But those who could not practice loving kindness, for example, walking, due to the physical condition, even though they have put much effort, they are still not able to practice loving kindness in the walking postures. Then they may only practice loving kindness in standing, sitting, or reclining. But in the formal practice, especially during the retreats, we seldom adopt the reclining postures or lying down. It's because if the mental effort is quite weak, meditators shall overcome by sleepiness or drowsiness while doing lying meditation or reclining meditations. So when we practice loving kindness with awareness, or the word you use here, Sati, or Sati means Sati, mindfulness. So the word Sati means a present moment's attention. Attention at this present moment. You must apply your mind, your attention to the objects of loving kindness. If you do not pay attention at the present moment during the practice of loving kindness, then the mind will be wandering far away or indulging in thinking and so on. So that's why at the beginning of practice of loving kindness, meditators must have this, must apply the mind or apply the attention on the object. So in Pali, it's known as vitaka. The word vitaka is a synonym with the other word sankappa. Samma sankappa, right thoughts. So you have to apply your attention on the practice. If you do not apply your attention, then the mind will be wandering, or you are merely saying the mental wishes or reciting the mental wishes, but your attention is somewhere else. So that's why chanting, sometimes chanting is not effective or as effective as meditation. As you chant Sabbe Satta, Sabbe Pana, Sabbe Buddha, and so on, by the time you come to the mental wish, Averahontu, the attention may be focused on the sentence Averahontu, but you do not know you do not know that you should direct the thoughts of loving kindness to these 12 categories of beings. Sometimes those who do the chanting of metta could be enjoying their own sweet sound of the chanting. So that's why in the practice of loving kindness meditation, we only have one object at each time of practice. For example, may my parents be well, happy, peaceful. So parents, mother and father, are taken as one object. But some meditators like to practice towards mother and father as two different objects. The mind should become more focused when the individuals is taken as an object of loving kindness. So during the practice loving kindness meditation, we do not direct the thoughts of loving kindness towards different objects at the same time. For example, it's difficult to cultivate the thoughts of loving kindness towards all different objects. For example, may all my parents, my teachers, my relatives, my co-meditators be well, happy, peaceful. May all my parents, my teachers, my relatives, my co-meditators be healthy always, then the mind will not be focused well, because there are 4 objects. So in the practice loving kindness meditation, we only direct the thoughts of loving kindness to one object. This object can be individuals or group of people, or meditators practicing loving kindness towards a group of people. For example, a group of Dharma friends. Meditators need not have to think of every individual or visualize the smiling face of every individual in this group of Dharma friends. If meditators begin to think of every one of them, then meditators may not able to develop the thoughts of loving kindness well. When meditators are successful in the practice, then they shall gain the 11 benefits of the metta. Some of you are familiar with these 11 benefits of metta. In one of the discourses in the books of 11s, the numerical discourses of the Buddha, books of 11s, there's a discourse about the 11 benefits. Meditators gain these 11 benefits when they have attained deep concentration. They have been successful in the practice. But those who have been practicing loving kindness constantly, continuously, they shall be able to gain most of the benefits. So I shall go through the 11 benefits briefly. The first benefit, sleeps in comfort. As though one is entering upon an attainment, for example, attainment of absorption concentration. The second benefit, one wakes up cheerfully, happily, like opening of a lotus. Then the third benefits, one dreams no evil dream. One dreams no evil dreams or fearful dreams. If one does dreams, one only dreams of something auspicious. For example, dreaming that one is hearing the talk on the Dharma, or making an offering, and so on. One does not see evil dreams or fearful dreams. For example, being surrounded by a group of bandits or robbers, or being threatened by the wild animals like the tiger, and so on. The fourth benefit, one's dear to human beings. The fifth benefit, one is also dear to non-human beings. Number 6, one is protected by the Deva. Number 7, one is protected from the dangers of fire, poisons, and weapons. So there are various stories in the scriptures or commentaries supporting these benefits with some story. And the next benefit, one's mind is easily concentrated. This point is also explains in the scriptures. So the mind of one who abides in loving kindness is quickly concentrated. The mind is not sluggish. So that's why the practice of loving kindness can become a good support to the practice practice of mindfulness meditation, insight meditation. Then the next benefit, number 9, the expressions of one's face is serene. These serene expressions of the face is due to the thoughts of loving kindness. If the mind is full of thoughts of anger, hatred, cursing, then the mind, the face, the look of the face could be ugly. The second last benefits, one dies unconfused. One pass away undeluded, as if falling asleep. The last benefit, one has not yet attained the highest stage of enlightenment, then one, after passing away from this world, one reborn in the Brahma world. But one needs to continue the practice loving kindness in the last moment of life. But in the teaching of the Buddha, the teaching always aims to be free from suffering in samsara. In other words, to attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So there are certain discourses where the discourses explain that one who has attained concentration through the practice of loving kindness, then one should train oneself to be mindful of the 5 aggregates of clinging. The 5 aggregates of clinging are aggregate of materiality, aggregate of feeling or sensation, aggregate of perception, aggregate of formations, and aggregate of consciousness, or in other words, mental and physical phenomena. So those who are able to contemplate. So here the word contemplates means to mindful of the 5 aggregates of clinging or mental and physical phenomena as they really are, and where they are able to develop insight knowledge, various stages of insight knowledge, until the attainment of supramundane knowledge. Then defilements will be uprooted. When they are able to attain all the 4 stages of supramundane knowledge, then they shall attain the highest stage of enlightenment and shall attain cessation of suffering. So we should not be contented with the practice loving kindness. We should not be contented with some calmness of the mind or peacefulness mind. So just now regarding the point that one could not, one always dreams evil dreams or fearful dreams, or sometimes it's due to the defilements of dosa, or defilement dosa. So before I end the talk of Dharma this morning, I shall quote a short discourse Um, um, so this discourse is found in one of the Nikaya, or connected discourses of the Buddha, Samyutta Nikaya. So this discourse is about questions. Once asked by a Deva, another time I think it's also by another Deva, and the third time is asked by a Brahmins, the Buddha. Once there was a Deva asked the Buddha, having slain what? Does one sleep soundly? Slain here means kill. Having slain what? Does one not sorrow? What is the one thing, O Gotama, whose killing you approve? So the Buddha answered, having slain anger, I mean having killed your anger, one sleeps soundly. Having slain anger, one does not sorrow. The killing of anger, O Devata, with its poisoned roots and honey teeth. This the killing, the noble one prays. For having slain that, one does not sorrow. With its poisoned roots and honey teeth. So the commentary to this discourse explained that anger, any form of anger, has a poisoned roots, because the results of anger is suffering. Even merely thoughts of anger, arising the thoughts of anger, hatred, that itself is a suffering to the mind. Then if one couldn't control the angers, and when the anger bursts up, one may even commit evils. So honey tip, anger has a honey tip. Honey means something like sweet. But here the commentary explained that anger has a honey tip because pressures arises when one returns anger with anger, abuse with abuse, a blow with a blow. So pressures arises when one returns anger and anger, abuse with abuse, or blow with a blow. You might have observed yourself in your daily life, in your real life. Some people might take pressures. If the speech of someone else is very abusive, very harsh, then the other one also do the same thing. The speech of the other one also may be abusive, harsh, rude, scolding with bad words, foul words, and they enjoying doing it, feeling happy to do it, and so on. So if we wish to sleep soundly, be free from sorrow, then you have to kill your anger. So this morning I have explained some the systematic way of practice of loving kindness from the first talk till this morning. Of course, as I emphasize that there's no hard and fast rule that loving kindness meditators must begin with the individuals, the respected individuals, dearly loved one, and so on. If they want to begin with all beings, they also must realize that when they live in the this world, when they are living the real worlds, when they meet various individuals or group of peoples, they should not have any feelings of anger, hatred, dislike towards different individuals, either those individuals whom they respect or they love, or they have the feeling of indifference, or he regard them as some individuals as the enemies. So, it's because thoughts of metta, is an antidote to dosa. So meditators can choose various objects. So the thoughts of metta is an antidote to one's own dosa, one's anger, hatred. So, or in other words, metta like a chemical solvent or chemical solvent. This metta, in other words, when meditators generate thoughts of loving kindness one after another, these thoughts of loving kindness like a solvent, a solution, dissolving your dosa, your anger, hatred. Then these merits, you become a supporting factor or supporting condition for you to realize the noble truth, or for you to realize supramundane wisdom. So I wish all loving kindness meditators shall be able to continue the practice loving kindness at home, especially this is the weekend. So you train yourself to practice loving kindness as much possible in all the 4 postures, or while doing your routine activities if possible, and so that you could clear the obstructions, obstacles to enlightenment, there's dosa. So I wish all meditators have a fruitful practice of loving kindness and the Dharma, so that you can realize your spiritual goals in this way life, and live in ultimate bliss, ultimate happiness. So.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Bhante, on behalf of all the yogis today, we want to thank you for your very insightful and powerful sharing. Let us now pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang pujemi. Dhammang pujemi. Sanghang pujemi. As a gentle reminder, as per the previous sessions, Please submit any questions to the Meta Workshop WhatsApp group or via email in the time allotted below. Wishing everyone a very fruitful meditation practice today, and we look forward to seeing you again this evening. Thank you.